Get your spooky figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description.
Horror, kaiju, Dragon Ball, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hey there, Collector Steven here, and I'm back with a horror review for you. That's right, I like to get my spooky on every once in a while, and today we're going to be taking a look at another offering from NECA in a 2-pack. That's right, something we've been waiting such a long time for, but it's the Halloween 2 version of him, and it's in a 2-pack. So, get ready to spend some money. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Halloween 2 Ultimate Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis set. Yep, Loomis is here. It's what we've been waiting for, Dr. Loomis, and Loomis has some interchangeable parts for different display options.
And they put him in a $75 2-pack. Good job, NECA.
So with that being said, we do have a Michael with a brand new head sculpt and new paint application, 2 new head sculpts actually, and a whole bunch of other accessories, some which folks have really been looking forward to. Others, how did that flame effect get past approvals? Okay, well, let's take a look to see whether or not this set's going to be worth adding into your collection. I like doing videos like this because we get to talk about the duality of action figure collectors. When the original Ultimate Halloween 2 Michael Myers came out, initially, nobody liked the head sculpts, except for the Ben Tramer one, because people were able to figure out that if they popped the hair off of one of the 2 head sculpts that came with the original Halloween 2 Ultimate Mikey, and they just did a slight repaint to the Ben Tramer, and they popped off the hair for the Ben Tramer sculpt, and they did a mix and match, they could actually get a Halloween 1 Michael. Pretty cool. Anyway, they did not like the head sculpts that came with the original Ultimate Halloween 2 Michael. However, there was a retro cloth Halloween 2 Mikey that was released, and everyone was saying, NECA, why didn't you just scale down those heads and put them on the Ultimate figure? That came out after the retro cloth. I don't understand what you guys were doing. So on and so forth. So a lot of folks didn't pick up the original Halloween 2 Michael Myers because of this. Well, last year around SDCC, keep in mind this is 2022, when they revealed this set in an interview, it was clearly stated that because of that fan reaction, they went back to the retro cloth figure and they scaled down the head sculpts because it came with a normal and a bloody eyes version, and they're going to include it here. And then this hits the market, and there are people who say that they don't like it and they prefer the original one, and they don't understand why NECA would even do such a thing. Boy, it's really difficult to figure out why we can't always get what we want. But with that being said, the head sculpts are very nice. Why? Because the mask here does look closer to what Dick Warlock looked like on screen, or on your small screen, in the movie. I do think that the head sculpt does look very nice. Now, what I will say is, unfortunately, NECA is not known for their quality control. I have, unfortunately, seen a couple of misshapen ones. Yeah, the shape is misshapen, who'da thunk. And, it just didn't quite look too good. But overall, I think that the quality control has been rather consistent. I did actually happen to end up with 2 sets myself. That's a story for a different day. And I think that overall, they do look rather solid, even with the printing on the eyes in the mask. Yes, that's good. Now, one of the big differences here is that Michael is going to be rather clean for his skin on his hands. It's not oily and dirty like the original Ultimate release, and the jumpsuit is actually going to be closer to a green color than the blue. For those of you who may not know that, maybe do a little bit digging into the history of Halloween and what color jumpsuit Michael originally wore. Now for the star of the show, Dr. Loomis. And Dr. Loomis actually does look really good. The likeness of Donald Pleasance, I think, is actually captured rather well. A little bit of a step down for the prototype, but I do think that overall he is executed nicely. I will say that there does appear to be a difference in some of these releases. It appears that some of them have, for his undershirt, a nice white, pure white coloration, while some others have a little bit of a maroon brownish spray to what we're able to see. So just keep in mind when you're taking a look at the figure, it doesn't look like it's necessarily a variant, so to speak. It just seems to be a hit or miss for some particular units that are out there in the wild. But otherwise, there are no discernible differences between those that may have that difference. And Loomis does look very good. The face printing technology that they have that is actually extended to his facial hair as well is fantastic. And actually, what I will say is that the buttons on his coat, that paint is actually applied rather nicely as well. Just to save some time for the accessory section, he does come with some alternate arms, and we'll take a look at that and the rest of his suit in that section, except for what we can see here. So yeah, otherwise, I do think that Loomis does look very well, and fans will be pleased. Well, if I may say for articulation, we've already had this figure. Technically, 2 other times. 3 other times? Michael's basically moved the same. Loomis, kind of your standard fare, so not a lot to write home about in this set, but guess what? This is going to be somebody's first. And you never forget your first. So Michael, what do we have here? How does he move? Well, head is basically, let's just take a quick look, so this way for those of you who are going to be swapping out the head parts, it's just going to be on a peg, and that's going to plug into the head. And that is going to be seated into the neck on a ball joint. So this way, you can get Michael's head to spin around, and you can rock from side to side. So this way you can get the infamous Myers head tilt. So that's pretty good. You can look up about that far. You can look down about that far. For the shoulders, we're going to have swivel hinge combos, though because of his jumpsuit, he is going to have a slight V. It's not that bad. I mean, honestly, it is what it is. You can push his arms a little closer together. He can do the Y part of the YMCA. It's fine. He can T-pose just a little bit like that because of the hinges. He is going to have awesome and well-integrated double hinge elbows. And since they plug into the bicep and the forearm, they are going to have swivels as well. So no true blue bicep swivels, but that's going to be the range of movement for the double hinges, but they're going to swivel out to the side. Cool. For his hand parts, very good wrist joints. They're going to hinge forward and back, and the hands plug in on pegs. So we get good range of movement there because of the cuffs, the sleeves, whatever you call that. We do get a little bit of a limited range of movement moving the hands forward and back on those hinges, but it is what it is. Now, I have never taken a Michael figure apart. We do have a limited range of movement in the torso, but because of his jumpsuit, it doesn't really matter the range of movement because, well, it's all one piece. He's wearing a one piece. Now, for the hips, they're the old style NECA joints, so they're going to be swivel hinge combos. So he can kick out to the side to do the splits, as you already saw, and he can kick about that far forward and back, okay? Now, one thing that some folks may see, my hips here are relatively even. However, you may have a situation where you will have that, and suddenly one leg is longer than the other. Basically, all you need to do is heat it up and push, and you will be good to go. Because it's just a misalignment issue, I have a video to help you out with that. We do have thigh swivels, which is good. Single hinge knees, which feature swivel. He's a squeaky boy. Hinges at the ankles, so we can get his foot forward and back. And ankle rockers, which is great. Oh, and they swivel around as well. Michael is great. Loomis. So, as you'll see in the accessory section, he does have the ability to take off his coat, but realistically speaking, the articulation is going to be the same, even for the alternate arm parts. So, yes, we could pop the head off if we really tried, but there are no alternate head parts, so I'm not going to bother. Head is going to be on a ball joint. That far up, that far down, spin around, rock from side to side. A little better than Michael, actually, which is kind of ironic since he's going after Michael. Swivels and hinges for the shoulders. Raise his arms up about that far. He can perfectly T-pose. You can do it better than Michael. Always T-pose on your enemy. Single hinge elbows, it's going to be about the same range of movement for both arms. So there you go. And you can spin the arms all the way around. For all the alternate hand parts, they are going to plug in on pegs, so swivels, and they are going to hinge. So they can move forward and back just like that, or in and out, rather. Now, interestingly, this is going to be real hard to see, but right on in there. Let's get as close of a look as we can. Look at the tip of my thumb. You see that? There's a ball joint. But it's completely unusable because of his suit. So we do have a waist joint, which is going to be a ball joint. So we can spin him around, which is fine. Hips. NECA's ball joints, which is good. So He can kick out about that far, realistically speaking, because of his suit, not his coat jacket. Mine are rather tight. You can kick about that far forward and back. And, of course, we do have thigh swivels, which is good. Single hinge knees with swivels. Ankles, hinge forward and back. Limited because of his pants. Ankle rocker as well. And swivels. Copyright information on the bottom, 2021. So they are not reusing the feet. Articulation on these dudes. Pretty good, collectively. Loomis, he's an old man and he doesn't need to move too much. Yeah, but they could have. Michael, just fine. He's pretty good. Time to take a look at the accessories, and Michael's basically going to come with the same ones that he came with for the original release for the weapons and the alternate hand parts, except by default he comes with one hand part that has a finger that is slightly extended, and this is to help him hold the scalpel a bit better. As reference, he comes with 2 right weapon holding hand parts, a left weapon holding hand part, and another extended hand splayed hand for his left hand. So this way he's able to put his hand up like when he gets shot in the eyes. He is going to come with the scalpel, syringe, a knife, and a hammer as his weapons. He's going to come with the bloody eyes head sculpt and a flame effect part, which we'll take a closer look at here in a second. Hint, hint, that's the original Ultimate Halloween 2 Michael Myers there on the side. For Loomis, he is going to come with 2 different revolvers, a right hand part that has a lighter, and 2 alternate arm parts, so this way you can take his jacket off. There is a pumpkin that is included here. I just threw it in with Loomis's accessories just to make the shot look better. All right, time to take a look at what Michael comes with, and here's just going to be a quick rundown of the weapons. Again, these are pretty much the same from the original release, except for it does look like the hammer here has a little bit more of the paint application on the actual handle. It looks a bit more like wood. Not a whole lot to write home about. For the bloody eyes head sculpt, it's actually a little bit different. If you were to flip back and forth through the picture viewer on Windows, you would be able to see that, but it's not a major difference. Yeah, it's just kind of there. It's there. Difference is there. But overall, it does look good. And once again, the printing in the eyes on the actual head behind the mask, pretty intimidating. Pretty creepy. All right, so let's just do a quick rundown of the different weapons that he has and some different action poses. Pretty cool, pretty neat. It's the same figure that you've already had. If you're a Halloween 2 fan, you probably did get the original Ultimate, I would assume. Okay, so we're there. Now for the fire effect. So, yeah, I don't think ultimately it looks very good, but they did actually capture the overall V effect, that if you take a real close look at Michael when he's walking down the hall, that's how the fire is burning up. And again, kudos to Dick Warlock for wearing the flame suit and getting the burns. Now, for getting him to equip, if you will, the different flame effects, I would advise you to pop the head off of Michael. Then you're going to get one piece that covers his torso that goes over the neck. You can pop the head back on there. We're going to get one piece that sort of acts like a face mask, and there are 2 little pegs that go into the eyes. Go ahead and do that. We're going to get one right flame part for the right bicep. Cool. Go ahead and do that. And then we're going to get a left thigh and a right thigh flame part. So that's going to total out to 5 parts in total. And now we have a Burning Man. Now, this is going to work exactly fine enough with the original Halloween 2 Ultimate Michael Myers. So if you wanted to do that, you very well could. And here's the cool part about it. That face mask part pretty much works with all of the different Michael Myers Ultimate figures that NECA has released. So if you have the Halloween Kills Mikey, knock your socks off. Now, I would also assume that the other fire effects work as well. So have fun? Yeah, have fun. And of course, since this is going to be, as you'll see in a minute, a repaint of the original Ultimate Halloween 2 Michael Myers, the accessories are interchangeable. So if you wanted the blue jumpsuit with these head sculpts, you can do that. If you wanted this body with the Ben Tramer head, you can do that. Back and forth, so on and so forth. Loomis. All right, so here's actually the clip in reverse. I just wanted to try it, see how it looked. Yeah, so you can just pop the arms off. They're real easy to do. It's not that difficult. You just got to make sure you grip it at the shoulder as close as you possibly can and just wiggle it a little bit and pull out. If you're having any issues, use heat. Though I will note that since his coat is made of rubber, don't use too much heat to the point that it's going to melt. You just pop the arms out and you just pop the new arms in the socket once you remove his coat. Now, the hands are going to have to be changed between the arms. Just something to keep in mind there. Now, taking a close look at his suit, it's a little speckly. Relatively accurate to the source material, I would say, but not quite to the prototype. In the prototype, it's a bit more dull, not necessarily as vibrant, as clear as it is, not as strong. It almost looks like the opacity is kept at 100 here, where on the prototype, as you'll be able to see on the box once you make your purchase, because that's going to be the recommendation, it is dialed down a little bit. So just something to keep in mind, but it doesn't look bad. And as a matter of fact, I'd recommend maybe picking up two if it wasn't in a $75 set. Now, Loomis is also going to come with two guns, as I made mention before. One of the guns he's had pretty much throughout the entirety of the movie, and I would assume that the second gun is the one that he picks up from the U.S. Marshal that Michael kills towards the end of the movie, that he gives the gun to Laurie Strode. Which gun is which? Don't know. Do I really care? Not really. He got two guns. He's got two hands. His right hand is meant to hold the gun because he's got, the one finger positioned in a trigger and the left one kind of doesn't. I don't know what he's trying to hold. And his alternate right hand part is holding the lighter, which the paint application is a little but it's small. I guess that's going to be the reason why it is. But it is what it is. So he can't hold the lighter and realistically hold the gun properly at the same time. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. But I guess it is what it is. But what I will say, though, is you can have a lot of fun with Loomis. And actually, for my April 2022 Patreon gallery, he was the guy that I picked. I did a little bit of a posing exercise with him. So if you're interested in checking that out, head on over for the silver tier and on up. Just a little bit of a plug I did. And the pumpkin. Pretty cool. This pumpkin design I always found rather odd because the skull's in the front and it sort of bulges out while the rest of the pumpkin is intact. I don't quite know how they were able to do that. I mean, like realistically speaking, like how do you carve that? Does anyone know? Drop in the comments if you have an idea. All right, so for accessories, that's going to be it. I do think that the flaming effect is not necessarily the best in the world. It definitely could be better, but I guess they're really, really close to the source material and how Michael was burning in the hallway as he was walking closer to the camera and he eventually fell over. But I digress. I think the execution is definitely what matters here. Overall, though, for I think what is crammed in here, the only things that I would say is Michael is going to need a right splayed hand part, and Loomis is going to need some options so this way he can hold his guns and the lighter in the left and right hand. That's definitely what could be used here. Also, another option part for Loomis for expressions, because he's very expressionless here from a guy who's literally psycho, screaming that he shoots Michael how many times?
I shot him 6 times.
How many?
I shot him 6 times.
One more time.
I shot him in the heart. I shot him 6 times.
Okay, do we know what death is?
You don't know what death is.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Okay, yeah, so you get the point. Yeah, but if you're looking for other support stands or effect parts, I got videos to help you out. Size comparison time, you know about how big these guys are going to be. Michael is unchanged from the original release, and Loomis is, you got an idea of how big Loomis is going to be. NECA's pretty good at keeping their in-universe characters relatively consistent for their sizing. So, no issues to be found here. Now, I have noted throughout the review that this version of Michael is pretty much going to be the same as the original Ultimate Halloween 2 Michael. Here's a side-by-side comparison if you don't believe me. Yep, the head sculpt is entirely new for the action figure format, but the body is going to be the same, just repainted a color green compared to blue. Even the feet are the same, except for what's painted, so that's about all I have to say. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. I'm going to be completely honest with you here, folks. I got my money's worth. I paid less than $60. Absolutely, I think for that price, this set is absolutely worth it. I think NECA really knocked this out of the park, and it is an absolute must buy. However, at $75, we go from $30 per figure to, let me just go ahead and pull up my calculator here real quick, divided by 2, $37.50 a piece. That is a tough sell, especially on Loomis, who does not really come with a whole lot. Yeah. With NECA's ever-increasing prices, I think this is going to be the first major product that they have on the market that is really going to put collectors into a corner that's really going to make you say, look, this price increase is going to be real. Are you still going to be on this ship with us? If not, when are you going to abandon? And it's a damn shame because Loomis is good. Here's what I'm going to have to say, folks. If you like this set, I would try to get it for as cheap as you can. But at the same time, once production stops and they don't ship these to stores, prices are going to go up because it's Loomis, and I can already see people wanting to get 2 of these to display both ways for Loomis and sell the other Michael. Yeah. At the end of the day, I think the set is really good, but the price it's a little too high.
Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.